Ay, 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 ay. Yeah.
So returning to the topic of the arts, I feel like, especially in like these economic times, the arts tend to get neglected. And I was reading through your kind of your priority issues, and you talk about education, economic development, you know, the Go Green Environment Campaign, stuff like that, but you don't really mention the arts. And I found it interesting that you went to Overton High School, and you guys had like the Kappa program or whatever. Right. What is your stance on public arts and that kind of creating a more vibrant and more cohesive kind of city? Because I mean, I really feel like the arts helps to decrease, you know, crime, and it helps to spur culture, you know, in places like, you know, where Elvis Presley Boulevard, you don't have any like arts or, you know, and so how would you kind of, you know, encourage public arts funding and, I don't know, back into the city? Do you think it kind of correlates to the state of culture in Memphis?
I don't think that it correlates with the culture in Memphis. I think there are a lot of us that appreciate creative arts. Now, you didn't see it on the platform, but when I said education across the board, that is a part of it. I bled creative and performing arts, and obviously it's within my platform, but I just know that that one word stands out, and it falls under that. In Memphis, you don't have that many schools that really are concentrating on the creative and performing arts. Our feeder school for Overton was Colonial, and the feeder school for Colonial was basically Willow Oaks Elementary, and so all of those schools are out east. Now, it was amazing when you go to All West Tennessee or you go to All State and you meet these very talented individuals from schools that had no program, but they were just talented. And eventually, by the time they probably got to high school, you were catching a city bus coming from North Memphis, going all the way out to Overton to be a part of the programs. I think that with education, they're so focused on these scores that they're not really putting into the kids the creative arts and allowing those kids to be creative coming outside of the school system when they come out when they come out and graduate their senior year. Yes, ma'am. That's a good point. Well, I'm going to tell you, my wife says that they're concentrating more on just scores. I mean, and it's amazing to me they don't really have recess. So going back to the recreational standpoint, you know, we've tried to partnership with Memphis City Schools to bring recreation in because most of their schools are located near a community center. And so we've tried to bring them in. You're going to say something.
What about like nonprofit organizations such as, you know, the Powerhouse that just shut down, you know? And I mean, it was the guy that was, you know, trying to raise money. He was really sick and he couldn't. But I mean, I feel like the city could have helped out in some way, you know? The Powerhouse, which is a gallery, which was a nonprofit gallery. Right. Yeah, the city didn't help out at all.
One doctor in the city funded the Powerhouse. That's it. The aneurysm, so he couldn't fund it. The building is owned by MATA, which is part of the city, which is run by the agency in Chicago, and nobody cared. Let it shut down.
Right.
All these major artists that were coming from around the world to our city and allowing people to see the public art. When most of them would not see that type of art, could not be more strong. A lot of people don't know that. And Urban Art Commission, which is another public, what she's talking about is blight. It's like a lot of public. I did an art project in North Memphis, which is on one of the community centers, on Daywell Community Center right now. And
I was just about to mention that.
So it's just, I think that helps decrease life and increase. I do think it's cultural related. I do think it's an investment in the appreciation for our environment. Seeing yourself and seeing what you can be beyond a basketball player or whatever. So I think it's integral, and I really hope that you have a plan to engage us in creativity and being the best us, because our generation We all want to be entrepreneurs. We all want to be creative. We all want to do music. We all want to be writers. We all want to be whatever. And we want to be able to excel in those different atypical kind of professions. So we want to talk about everything.
And I think it also leads to a more cohesive city, because everybody talks about Memphis being divided between black and white. But I mean, if you have the arts, like just recently we had like a public mural, you know, on, what was it, Madison? Right. And that was funded by Chick Hill, you know, who worked with Rhodes. And I don't know, do you have any plans to, you know, reallocate funds to public arts, not just kids, not just schools, but public arts?
In my neighborhood, kicking in doors, they either rap, sing, dance, do graphic art, all non-educated, just talented, but they don't have an outlet. Yeah, they all have talent, but they don't have an outlet, or they can't afford a computer, or they just don't have an outlet, so they sit with all this creative stuff, and it just overwhelms them. So forget it, I'm finna just go rob somebody, because I ain't got nothing else to do.
The powerhouse, sorry. I mean, it's ironic, because this is probably like the first time we had Rahima. She came from Chicago to kind of head up the powerhouse, and it was like the first time in years that, you know, they were, you know, we're creating projects for the, you know, community, you know, for the schools, the kids. And recently we just went to a show that kids put on, you know, it was like a summer program, and now it's gone.
We're missing in this city. Untapped talent is not given the opportunity to actually succeed. So I want you all to know that I mentioned Carlos, because Carlos, we went in to actually talk to Carlos about shooting a commercial. I didn't want to go to Channel 3, Channel 5, Channel 13. I knew it was somebody that could do this. And we went to him, and I actually sat down and talked with him, and he actually decided to be a part of this team. And so we're going to be working with him. And I was having a conversation with him, and he was telling me about the arts in the city. He was actually looking at that. We were on Monroe, and he was telling me that this is really the arts district of the city. And he was looking at certain buildings, and he was saying how he had a vision to just make this the entire arts district of the city, because you had the Hattie Lou Theater sitting right there as well. And I told him we could make that happen, because I would request additional funds for the arts. I explained to him that I attended Overton High School, and we sat there and we had a long conversation.
Can I get a clarification? You said you were in favor of the city of Memphis funding the city schools and the county funding the county schools?
I said this last night in the debate, so it was the first time anybody had ever heard it. But because let me give you the reason why. It's state law that the county taxes that we pay fund the city and the county schools. Now let me give you some history, because when Mayor Harrington served as superintendent and he came over to be the mayor, obviously he had a love for the schools. So he began funding the schools, which I don't have a problem with. I think we should. But here's the issue from a taxpayer standpoint. We're now being double taxed on the schools. So that's why you saw the issue this year when our budget was called to question and we had to look at some other avenues. We were like, well, we're giving Memphis City Schools $95 million when we don't have to. You know, we can really pull that money back and put it towards public works, put it towards parks, making sure we get our grass cut, all of the amenities that the city of Memphis residents pay for. Well, here's the thing. Even though we may be double taxed, we still feel that we don't need to pull money from the kids. You see what I'm saying? So I just have a problem personally with my dollars going to the county, because I don't plan on my kids going to the county. And I don't know anybody that has their kids in the county, because we live in the inner city. We support our schools. So yes, I would like to propose a plan where the citizens vote on it and actually take it to the state and maybe get this tax for this law, this distribution of funds law, changed, where the county takes care of the county schools and allow the city to take care of the city schools.
Yeah.